the prosecutor is a pretty simple concept. Usually after, or the police department has their community-oriented policing or their dedicated community officers. And they work with you to get whoever it is arrested, whether it's for drugs, burglary, something more serious, what have you. But then after the arrest, there was a disconnect. No one would know when the court dates were or how they could find out what the sentence was if there was one. Well, Dana steps in that gap. She stays in contact with the community after arrest and keeps you educated about when court dates are, when bond hearings are going to be, so you can show up in mass and let the judge see this defendant is having a much larger impact, like a ripple in a pond, if you will. It's not just what they do at one house. There might be several houses that experience the same thing. So I'm trying to give the judges a better view of how criminals are affecting the community. And obviously we need you to stay in touch with Dana to be able to continue to do that. The last thing, and I could go on and on. I don't know, Commissioner, how long I have, but he's giving me the 2-minute sign. You know I'm a lawyer and a politician. That's almost impossible, but I'll do my best, certainly out of respect. The last thing that we try to provide is peace of mind. So protection, prevention, and peace of mind. We're hoping that rather than having a mistrust of the criminal justice system, not knowing who your prosecutors are or what they're doing up in the courthouse, you see that we're out in the community trying to help you make this a better place. Both Robert and I obviously live in the county. We are raising our families here. We want it to be a safe environment, not only for our kids, but obviously all of you. And so we are definitely committed to making this a better place, and hopefully that will provide you peace of mind. Some things to watch as we go forward. We were approved, had gotten some grant money to do a criminal justice strategic plan. There's a lot of different elements of the criminal justice system, as you might imagine, but one of the things that we also want to make sure we focus on is the element of preventing crimes, particularly with our young people. And so we secured grant money earlier this year to try to put together a strategic plan. And it's not going to be the kind of thing where the elected and appointed officers sit down in a room and we craft it. You will see us kind of doing the circuit, coming out to these meetings and hopefully putting surveys and things on the websites and Facebook pages of the other elected officials, so you can tell us what's important to you, what elements of crime are important to you, what ideas you might have. A lot of you have lived in different cities where they've tried different things. Again, we want to get different suggestions on ways to combat crime, and so we'll be working on that as well. We've got a couple of other things that we're going to be looking at. One of the big things I hope to be able to achieve before I leave the office is something of a co-located facility where right now we've got victims that have to go to 4 or 5 different places in order to get their services. They either have to go to DFACS or the police department, the prosecutor's office. They're running around town, and particularly in this economy, if they don't have their own transportation, it can be kind of difficult. So we're hoping in the future, and again, this is something I've talked to Commissioner Johnson about, we are going to explore the possibility of putting these victim services under one roof. And we want to hear whether that's something that you as a community would be interested in. Obviously, we want to make sure that we're responsive, but we're hoping that we might be able to figure out exactly how to make that happen. So that's kind of your DA in a nutshell, if you will, and obviously I'll be around for any questions that you have a little bit later on.